Obviously, one area's good fortune is another area's misery. We have to keep that in mind. You know, if those of us in the Tampa Bay area, it may at times look a little better, but that means people to our south are really in harm's way. So we're thinking about all of you. We know your life, your property is important. So we're just hoping for the best.
I think that that's kind of the conversations that have happened, at least with friends and family from out of town, and they say, we're praying and we're hoping. And I said, yeah, you want it to move, but that just means it's going to somebody else.
Right.
And you don't want anybody to suffer through this. You wish it could just disappear entirely. But here we are, and we're going to move right through this right now. It's 4:30, a little bit after 4:30. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay as we cover Hurricane Milton for you, whether you are here in Tampa Bay riding through this, or you are in another community where you've evacuated and you are safe right there, trying to see what happens to the home that you love so much. We are here for you. I'm Courtney Robinson along with Dave Wagner.
Yeah, we want to mention a few things here. In Polk County, there are some roads that right now are not passable due to flooding. Two streets there, Lakeland, Reynolds Road flooded at Main Avenue. So if you live in that area, you may know that it's underwater there. In Winter Haven, 42nd Street Northwest at Avenue Q Northwest, also flooded. Please stay away from that. We mention it all the time. Do not drive through water of unknown depths. In storms like this, it's very hard to see where you're going, so just keep that in mind.
Especially as we just went through Helene, and so a lot of these drains are blocked. So what you might think is, just a little bit of standing water, certainly could be much deeper, and there could be things inside of that water too, some other debris. Also, keep in mind that the bridges, they have closed. So 3 important things to keep in mind right now. Most major bridges are closed. There are tornado watches in effect. In fact, till at least 9 p.m. For much of the Tampa Bay area. So know your safe space, and then also there are shelters as well that are open. But at this point, it's really, you want to stay in your safe place. You want to stay where you are.
I will say that if you are in dire straits right now, check this. You text the word home to 727-577-8522. We'll do our best to navigate you to a shelter. We'll talk about impacts, evacuation, shelters, power, water, damage, other critical emergency information for your county.
And the Florida Division of Emergency Management shared this. It's just such easy information. Stay inside, stay safe, stay put. So stay inside with all of the things that you've already gathered. Stay away from those windows and exterior doors, and then stay put. Do not leave until you are told it is safe to do so. We do have power outages. A lot of those, we've seen these increase. I think the last time we looked, average about 8,000 for most of these providers. Now you have Duke, 11,000 customers without power.
And those numbers, of course, will go up. Let's take a look at the Skyway Bridge right now. Oh boy, Skyway Bridge is closed. Not surprisingly, it closes when there are sustained winds that are above being safe to drive across. But it's disappearing under the rain and the wind and the waves. And it can get choppy out there, as you know. If you've crossed the Skyway Bridge, it can get choppy. But this is very unusual. And as those winds pick up, it'll get even worse.
Yeah. Emerald Morrow is live for us in Bradenton, and Emerald has been moving around. Right now, it's a little bit of a lull as the bands are coming through. At least it seems that way, Emerald, looking at the bushes behind you. But this is an area with Bradenton Beach, where so many people have so many memories, and an area where we are very concerned as we are looking at landfall.
Yeah, Courtney, all of the things that you said and even more. We are actually at the Braden River boat ramp, where you can see the rain coming in, the waves. It's not as perhaps bad as what we saw over when we were on the Palmasola Bay and the causeway over there. But I do want to mention something about the Braden River. The Braden River is one area where you remember a month or so ago with Tropical Storm Debbie, Hurricane Debbie, people living.
Well, your microphone went out there. Emerald, as the photographer tries desperately to clean the lens of the camera, sometimes rain, wind, and just do not agree with cameras. Yeah. So we're constantly trying to wipe that lens. If you wonder, that's the hand of the photographer wiping the lens. They're trying to give you as good a shot as possible. We do want to talk a little bit about an update on a rescued dog, if we can. Glimmer of good news here. Look at that cute little thing right there. This dog was rescued by the Humane Society. I'm sorry, FHP
Yeah.
rescued it.
He was on the side of
receiving care.
I-75.
I know.
Did you see that
That
video
is just
earlier?
crazy. What a sweet little guy there. Don't know if it's a guy. Don't mean to offend it. Troopers brought him to a vet. He was examined for injuries and received a clean bill of health. But boy, we're grateful. You know,
Yeah.
we're thinking about. I have a sister-in-law who's got horses, and trying to move those in a storm like this, you don't think about big animals like that sometimes.
It's
and
a
there
lot of
are a few
it
areas
is.
where you can take these animals sometimes.
So you can see FHP, you know, he was on the side. And listen, this guy, girl, this dog had a collar on, and you can see right there, really scared.
Kinda
You don't know if
scared.
this is like a rest stop where somebody's dog jumped out or what happened here, but they were able to find.
And they're in water right there.
Yes, and they were able to safely rescue him. Again, clean bill of health. A great reminder, though, right now, if you have power, if you're still connected, if you have an animal, to update their microchip information. If your dog is microchipped,
point.
it's really important because things can happen in these storms, and God forbid something happens that somebody. FHP, another Good Samaritan, finds your animal, and a veterinarian is able to scan that and make sure it gets back. But you got to make sure that that's updated information.
It is so tough for those of us out there with pets, trying to figure out what to do with them sometimes, because this is very distressing to animals sometimes, and certainly you don't want to leave them in an evacuation zone by themselves. But check this out. This is a sail drone video. Oh my goodness. And this is, I'm trying to think exactly where this is. I can't tell.
No, was this Gulf of Mexico during Milton?
Yeah.
The coordinates don't mean anything.
Well, we get a sense there what's going on, but it looks bad.
This was the sail drone.
Yeah.
Those are the sail drones. Those were those really interesting devices that
That's right.
that they drop in to really get all that data
To monitor. Well, let's go to Evan. He's down at the Tampa Convention Center. He's standing by a pillar. He's not out there on a sail drone, but last we checked with him, there was some debris flying, at least some plywood coming off, or some piece of something coming off one of the buildings down there, Evan.
Yeah, Dave, we were at the convention center a little bit earlier. We moved to the federal courtroom out here in the corner of Florida and Cass, and really this is probably the last time you're going to see me outside. Next time you're going to see me in the hotel, because the wind, the rain really picking up. Debris, some debris already on the roads, and you can kind of, the thing is, you can tell where the wind is going right now, but because of the buildings in Tampa, obviously it gets a little bit distorted on when it starts making its way down here, sort of where we're nuzzled up. But you can kind of see the signs, the palm trees. It's really starting to cook a little bit, and we're not even sniffing kind of the wind you're going to get if this thing comes right through the bay. So you're getting a little precursor, because this is the last time you're going to get a precursor out here, because it's going to pick up if we get the worst of it. So we're right now, not in an evacuation zone. So we're a little bit further away. So where storm surge won't be an issue here, you got to think about the flash flooding, and you got to think about the wind and the projectiles and what could fly around in a city that hasn't seen wind like this really ever. It's certainly not in our lifetimes. So that's kind of what we're canvassing here. We also did see an ambulance that was trailed also by a Tesla that was crunched up. So those are also the concerns as well. You got to be off the roads. If you haven't done it already, you got to be in your safe space. Absolutely 1,000% right now. We're heading there right after this.
It's all during Helene, Evan. We should probably mention here that a person was killed on I-4 driving when a sign fell on top of them. So it's this debris, it's various things flying through the air that we just can't even predict.
I mean, so many things. And Evan, I just saw two people walking behind you. I don't know if they're part of another television crew or what, but have you seen people out walking around?
Yeah, you know what? There's been a couple of stragglers. For the most part, it's been a ghost town here in Tampa, which is a good thing, right? We want you all safe, home, away, out of this stuff. But yeah, we have seen a couple of people who are walking around, not 100% sure what they're doing. We asked them, get home, please get home. And they said they were heading on that way. But there are a lot of medical people here who are kind of stationed, making sure that when the storm does pass, they're going to jump on site. There are news crews. There are a lot of people here that are built to handle sort of the aftermath. So it's tough to really know who is a resident here versus, you know, who's also here to kind of handle things once the hurricane comes through.
Look at that tree behind Evan right there, just really starting to bend,
Yeah.
progress. I mean, again, as we've shared with all of the reporters that we've gone to, things just pick up. They kind of die down a little bit and pick back right up.
And certainly watch the trees out there because those can fall. The ground is saturated, as we've talked about. But one of the things that we see from these storms are tornadoes that are kicked up here. And this is one.
Wow.
This is on Alligator Alley.
Wow.
I-75. So it gives you a sense as to the danger out there. I know there's just so many things to worry about. You're worried about flooding. You're worried about winds. You're worried now about tornadoes. So this is the way it's going to be for the next few hours. We're going to talk you through it. No need to panic here, but just keep it here, and we'll sort of talk you through what you're seeing, what's about to happen. Our meteorologists, our team of meteorologists, really experienced at this kind of stuff, so they can talk you through what's about to happen in your area. And yeah, I know it's concerning, but we're going to get through this.
This is from earlier. This is in, if you're not familiar, Alligator Alley connects Southwest Florida to South Florida across the bottom part of our state. This is a very large tornado that traffic cameras with the Florida Department of Transportation were able to record. And these, I think in other types of storm coverage that we do, we see these tornadoes kind of spin up from water spouts, and they look much different.
Right.
This, along with what we saw earlier from around Lake Okeechobee, as well as Collier County, they're much stronger. So it is really important to stay tuned in to a news source to make sure that when we are telling you there is a tornado in your area, that you do go into that safe space with as many walls in between you and the exterior. You have 10 Tampa Bay right there in your hand, and our meteorologists are going to be able to walk you through where that is and also when things are clear for you.
And our Chris Hurst has gone inside his hotel for his own safety right there. He's over in Orlando right now. Chris, from what I can tell, it sounds like a party behind you.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're trying to find a quiet place, but they still have the elevator music, right? Still going here in the lobby of the DoubleTree Hotel. Behind me, people are inside. We are right on the perimeter of a tornado warning here in Orange County, so that's why we decided to come inside. We have walls all around us, so that is the good news. But everyone is now hunkering down. There was one restaurant about 50 yards away from the hotel that was staying open. I talked to one woman in the elevator just a few minutes ago. She had some food. It smelled good. I said, "Where'd you get it?" She said, "From the place down the street," but it wasn't worth having to walk back in the wind and the rain that all of a sudden here in Orange County has started to whip up. So while we have hundreds of families here at this hotel as evacuees from the Tampa Bay area, we are not able to shelter ourselves completely from the effects of Milton. We're starting to see heavy bands of rain, and you aren't seeing any of that lightning in the Bay Area pretty much at all. But out here, we've heard a lot of thunder, we've seen lightning, and certainly if you look on the radar, the lightning strikes out here in central Florida, out to the eastern part of Florida, really ramping up right now as Milton edges even closer. So we are still in this sort of limbo, all of us evacuees here and in this one hotel. Last time we talked, I introduced you to Rhonda, who was here with her husband. They're from Largo. They live in a mobile home. I want to play now some sound for you from David Darcy. That's Rhonda's husband. Really asking him about the prospect. They live in a mobile home. What are they going to do if they lose their home?
What's going to be available in Pinellas County after? I mean, lots of houses won't be habitable, you know. So mobile homes won't be available. You know, it's a worry. It's a real worry.
And that is the unknown for so many of us. What are we going to see after